All right, so our last section is construction, why our memory is full of errors. So our memory not only gets forgotten, but it also gets constructed, imagined, selected, changed, and rebuilt. Memories are altered every time we recall them. Remember, we talked about this, that cycle, that every time you bring a memory from long term into the short term, it gets altered by all of the stuff that's going on in this new environment that we're in and the new information that's there. So when they're altered again, when we reconsolidate the memory, using the working memory to send them into long-term storage again, and then later information alters earlier memories. So no matter how accurate and video-like our memory seems, it's full of alterations, okay? So what are some of the ways in which memory ends up being an accurate guide to the past? Well, we have the misinformation effect, imagination inflation, source amnesia, deja vu, and implanted memories. So what is the misinformation effect? Well, in 1974, Loftus and Palmer asked people to watch a video with a minor car accident. The participants were then asked how fast were the cars going when they hit each other. Okay, and so what we found is that those who were asked, when the cars smashed into each other, reported remembering speeds and remembered broken glass that wasn't there. Okay, so just the word, that little bit of information that was kind of added to the situation, this word smashed, changed the way that they recalled the event. Okay, so what the definition of the misinformation effect is incorporating misleading information into one's memory of an event. Now, implanted memories, so they do lots of studies with this, and we kind of talked about this in class, and then we saw some stuff also in some of the videos that we watched. So in one study, students were told a false story that spoiled egg salad had made them ill in childhood. As a result, many students became even less likely to eat egg salad sandwiches in the future. So in a study by Elizabeth Loftus, people were asked to prove details of an incident or provide details of an incident in childhood when they had been lost in a shopping mall, even though they had been no such incident. But by trying to picture details, most people came to believe that the incident had actually happened. Okay, so what we see here is that this idea of imagination inflation, simply picturing an event can make it seem like a real memory. And once we have an inaccurate memory, we tend to add more imagined details, as perhaps we do for all memories. Why does this happen? Well, visualizing and actually seeing an event activates similar brain areas. And then because we're working with it, we are now taking our memory of imagining the memory and turning it into a memory. So it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. Which came first? The memory of the event. Which is real, which is not real. Okay. All right, now source amnesia or misattribution, which are kind of the same term, we use them synonymously. So an example of this, have you ever discussed a childhood memory with a family member only to find out the memory was from a movie you saw or a book you read, from a story someone told you about your childhood but they were kidding, or from a dream you used to have, or from a sibling's experience? Okay, now if so, your memory for the event may have been accurate, but you experienced something called source amnesia, forgetting where the story came from and attributing the source to your own experience. So what happens here is that it's not that the event didn't actually happen or that it didn't actually occur, but where you got the memory from, the source of the memory is wrong, and then or you're attributing the source to your own experience, but it was actually from somebody else. Now, deja vu, we talked about this. So, deja vu refers to the feeling that you are in a situation that you've seen or have been in. Okay, there's lots of different explanations. We talked about, some of the technical ones, and it could be seen as a source amnesia as well. So sometimes our sense of familiarity and recognition kick in too soon, and our brain explains this as being caused by a prior experience. All right, so the last little thing here, you know all this stuff now. How can you use your memory to improve your grades? Well, try to create as many retrieval cues. Make it meaningful. Create mnemonics. Minimize interference. Sleep after you study. Have multiple study sessions spaced farther and farther apart. Okay, spend your study sessions activating your retrieval cues and test yourself. Test yourself, test yourself. All right, guys, I hope you're having a hope you enjoyed this lesson. Sorry, my brain's not working totally. Hope you enjoyed this unit. This is kind of it with memory, and so we'll spend some time now reviewing and practicing.